Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. My name is Silky and you can call me, oh my gosh, my name's Silky Feather and you can call me Silky. And this is not my first video. My gray hairs are coming in. It looks like I have like streaks or parts or something on my hair. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, Meet Kevin's got some news, so we're going to listen to him. But I just wanted to take a moment and thank all my subscribers. And I have a giveaway coming up because I feel like I'm going to have a giveaway. If I'm going to have like a non-THC box and a THC gift box. Surprise items, all relating either to cannabis or not cannabis. How about that? But empowering, I always have something that's empowering or for the non-cannabis box. Maybe more driven towards women on the non-cannabis box. The cannabis box could be either sex, really, but you know. We need more subscribers. And I don't know how to get them. So, without further ado, let's listen to Kevin. Thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe. Please share. Please ask your friends to subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers. And I need 4,000 hours of my videos being watched. And I know you guys like drama. And this year, we're going to have all kinds of good drama. I burnt my lip. I hit my pipe and an ember came out. And it landed like right on top of my lip. And I went to like get it out. And the saliva kept it. And it just like rolled down my lip. And it's like burning. It's like so sore. Okay, I'll leave it alone. But special chapstick. Anyway, so like, subscribe, and share. Thank you again for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. Bye.
Hey everyone, me Kevin here with updates on the next round of stimulus, the $1,000 extra stimulus checks for some of us, the $600 a week in unemployment pay, that plus up, and other money updates. Today is June 11th, and I thank you so much for joining me in this update. Just a heads up, I heard all of you loud and clear yesterday. I will cover stimulus first, I promise. Then I'll talk about stocks and real estate and tenants. Today I have a very special message for those of you who are tenants, so stay tuned for the end of the video for that and updates on stocks. Now, let's talk stimulus. First things first, let's talk about Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi was just interviewed by Time Magazine. The interview happened about 30 minutes ago, around 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, Nancy Pelosi is the Democrat who leads the House of Representatives. She got the big HEROES Act passed, right? Which, not surprising. She leads the Democrats. The Democrats pushed through this 1,800-page bill, which extends the $600 in unemployment payments, the $600 plus up, and it would give those of you who received a stimulus check another round of stimulus payments in the amount of $1,200, plus expanding that eligibility to all dependents who would then receive $1,200 instead of $500. With a max of 3 dependents per households, of course. Now, many of us have been laser focused on what the Republicans are doing in the Senate because technically the Senate and the Republicans are in control right now. But Nancy Pelosi took a solid shot at them this morning, and she kind of has a point with something she says here. Listen to this. She says, look, at first the Republicans said no stimulus. Then they're saying, okay, maybe more stimulus, but let's do the PPP first, nothing else. Then, now they're saying, okay, maybe $1 trillion, but not until July. So she's actually kind of mocking the Republicans here. She's saying, look, basically, the longer the Republicans wait, the more they realize that the Democrats are right in wanting and demanding more stimulus. And here's something else that's very interesting. She's demanding more direct stimulus payments to us, Which, consider this for a moment. We're so laser focused on the Republicans, but if the Republicans just come up with a stimulus package and it doesn't include direct payments to individuals, which is what Democrats are demanding, then Republicans don't necessarily get to pass their bill because they can't. They can't pass their bill without the Democrats, so they have to get Democrats on board, which kind of makes you wonder, is that why Republicans aren't mentioning direct stimulus payments? Because it would give up their leverage that they have with Democrats. The more quiet they are on the potential of the next stimulus check going directly to us, the more able the Republicans might be in negotiating with Democrats. Which I teach a lot about negotiating and the psychology of money in my real estate investing course and my money course linked down below, because that's what I do. I negotiate with people on a daily basis, and so I find that very interesting. But let's keep seeing what Nancy Pelosi says here. This is something to pay attention to, because as much as we're focusing on Republicans, you can't get this done without the Democrats. She's not only demanding more direct payments, she specifically said that, these are her words, but she's also demanding more unemployment compensation, more money for food stamps, and she says that she's really big on money for the people. And she's also saying, look, these aren't things that Republicans haven't done before in the past. So Republicans could do this again. They were willing to do it in the past. They should be willing to do it now. And so Nancy Pelosi is taking this as probably, let's be real here, a political opportunity to say, hey, look, I'm here to help the working class American. And the reality is that is true. She specifically says she's here to help the working class American because the bottom line is the Fed is only making wealthy people richer by propping up the stock market right now, which is also very true. Although today is a little bit red, the stock market has been building a lot of wealth for a lot of people who have been getting involved in the stock market over the last 90 days. Which, speaking of which, if you want to kind of get your feet wet and get 2 totally free stocks and join what the rich people do in stock ownership, only about 50% of Americans own stocks, and people who tend to be wealthier tend to own stocks and real estate, then you may as well deposit $100 with the stock trading platform Webull. Use the link down below, deposit $100, and you get 2 free stocks worth up to $1,400. It's kind of a lottery in terms of how much you get, but you deposit $100, you get up to $1,400. You may as well give it a shot. Anyway, when speaking about the Fed, Robert Kaplan, the president of the Dallas Fed, said that if you want to avoid doing things that are contradictory to growth, you've got to focus on stimulating the economy right now. This is obvious. We've time and time again heard the Federal Reserve focus on the theory that, hey, we need more stimulus for the economy. And this is reiterated by Jerome Powell's really gloomy outlook yesterday. Unemployment isn't expected to be any lower than 9.3% by the end of the year, which is still an atrociously high number. Now, sure, yesterday I talked to you about how the Fed is keeping rates low and providing forward guidance, that A, they're not even thinking about raising rates, and B, they're going to keep rates low at least through 2022. Wall Street Journal predicts at least through 2023. We'll see. But look, it's clear that the Fed and Congress has to do more. In fact, the Wall Street Journal this morning reiterated that the Fed is gearing up to keep a lid on Treasury yields, which is just a fancy, complicated way of saying the Fed is working to put even more money into the economy, which again benefits wealthier people who own stocks and not American working class people who need more help. The Fed is kind of in this position where when the Fed comes out, and think about this for a moment, when the Fed comes out and is really gloomy, oh, things aren't looking good, in so many words, and stocks fall back and retract, guess what happens? Donald Trump, Larry Kudlow, and the people in the White House start paying attention. Republicans start paying attention. When the stock market is doing great because the Fed is propping up the stock market, Republicans seem less interested in talking about stimulus. So in a weird, twisted way, we know that Jerome Powell wants more stimulus, so maybe he just needs to bag on the market some more, lead stocks to decline more, be more concerned about the second wave, and maybe that'll twist people's arms in the Republican sides of the Senate and the White House to finally get the extra stimulus moving. So, if this doesn't convince you to get 2 free stocks with Webull yet, I don't know what will, but we'll talk more about stocks in just a moment. Here's something else that the Wall Street Journal mentioned. The Wall Street Journal mentioned that the latest pandemic unemployment assistance boost that the White House is considering is a range of $250 to $350. That was released today, which means that, and since we kind of have the suspicion that the Wall Street Journal has a leak in the White House, the Wall Street Journal tends to be pretty accurate with these estimates, at least historically they have been. So I can only assume that that's probably what's floating around right now. So if you're on unemployment, I would currently have the expectation that your $600 plus up, that boost, is probably going to decline to about $250 to $350 come August. So stay tuned for that. Right now, you're good until the end of July. Also, economists are now finding that 85% of families have enough savings to cover 3 months of expenses. That's shocking. 85% of us have enough money to cover 3 months of expenses. Is this true? Would you mind leaving a comment in the comments down below? Let me know. While you're down there, hit the like button and subscribe if you like my content. But what's interesting is that number was 42% prior to the CARES Act. So before the first relief package, only 42% of Americans had enough money to cover 3 months of expenses. Now, 85% of families have enough money, enough savings to cover 3 months of expenses, which means you all have at least some money to consider buying stocks, which remember what the wealthy people do. More on that in just a moment. Let's now talk about Larry Kudlow, and then we'll go on to the White House. Oh, and by the way, I got another email from the life insurance company, and they wanted to send a big thank you to all those of you who signed up for life insurance. Remember, it takes you as little as 5 minutes to sign up for life insurance. So great job to all of you for getting your family planning in order. The link is down below. Again, it takes you as little as 5 minutes to sign up for life insurance. It's pretty inexpensive. Both Lauren and I have it, and I was really surprised. For $1 million policy, I was shocked with how inexpensive it was, and then I just Apple paid for it, which was really convenient. It just automatically pays with Apple Pay. Anyway, Larry Kudlow. Guess what Larry Kudlow had to say about Jerome Powell? First, remember what I said about Jerome Powell? Jerome Powell coming out with some gloom, tanks the stock market, wakes up Donald Trump and Larry Kudlow, right? I'm going to prove that here. Because Larry Kudlow this morning said, quote, "I do think Jerome Powell could lighten up a bit. You know, express some optimism, a smile here or there. But you know what? We'll media train him later." Larry Kudlow literally said Jerome Powell needs to convey a little more hope. Yet in the meantime, Jerome Powell is literally standing on a pedestal with a frickin' money printer going, meh. Like, how much more hope can you give when you're literally printing money? Except Jerome Powell realizes him going like this and printing the money printer, which we all know is really just changing a number on a spreadsheet, is just benefiting people who have wealth. Look, I get it. I used to work for minimum wage. I used to be a tenant. I realized once I started owning assets that America screws you if you don't own stocks or businesses or real estate or some combination therein. Jerome Powell knows that. He is an economist and has a staff of, I think, over 1,400 economists who all know that in America, poor people get screwed unless they own assets. And guess what? Jerome Powell can't change it. Only the White House and Congress can. Now, Larry Kudlow goes on to say that their 7-day average for coronavirus cases is unchanged, maybe up a tiny little bit. They don't go on a day-by-day basis. So Larry Kudlow is saying, you know, this whole second wave spike stuff is probably just a result of more testing. And yeah, hospitalizations are up, but elective surgeries are now being done, so of course hospitalizations are up. And he talks about his hip replacement. Which maybe this is Larry Kudlow being real with us and saying, look, the 7-day average is unchanged. Or he's giving us the hope that he says Jerome Powell should be giving us with a smile, when in reality, the economy needs more help. Now, y'all know me, I'm not trying to take sides, Democrats or Republican. Some of you wonder, hey, Kevin, how come it seems like you've been talking about Republicans more lately? Well, because it's their turn, right? When it was time to talk about the HEROES Act, we were talking about the Democrats all day long. Now it's the Republicans' turn. Now, we haven't solved everything, is what Larry Kudlow goes on to say, but he does say the markets are pointing up. We're at an inflection point of up. We're changing upwards. And this is good. And Larry Kudlow this morning was directly asked by a Fox News host, what about money in the people's pocket? Literally was asked point blank that quote. And when I heard that, I'm like, thank you. Finally, somebody has the cojones to just ask the dude point blank, what about money in the people's pockets? But remember what I said earlier about negotiating and negotiating posture. Republicans don't necessarily want to say that right now, it appears, because of their ability to negotiate with Democrats. They need Democrats. So maybe in order to get their things through, like liability protections or a payroll tax holiday, they will concede a stimulus check to the Democrats, and they don't want to give that up too early. This is negotiating 101. Know what your opponent wants, and then make it difficult for them to get it. Now, in response to the question, what about money in the people's pockets? He said, that's what I'm referring to. I mean, we're we're sorting things out, okay? We're going to come up with a pro-growth package and blah, 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 blah. We're going to continue to do tax cuts and deregulation, and we're going to focus on jobs and growths and blah, blah, blah. So what was that first line he said? He said, that's what I'm referring to, and then goes on to talk about things we've heard the White House say before. But that's really interesting that he would say that and then cover it with, like the payroll tax holiday and this and that. Something to keep in mind. It's all starting to become more clear. Now, again, this was cryptic, but it's a good sign nonetheless. I honestly think there are political reasons for this. I think I'm on the money on this one. Let me know what you think about that. And remember, you want to learn this kind of negotiating and psychology so that you can make money. Join the real estate investing course or the course on personal finance and money where I can teach you about stocks. We got a real estate and stock program. You can join me live every day when I buy stocks or I make trades or I talk about real estate. Heck, you could even bundle the courses together. If you check out for the real estate investing course or the money course, at the end, after you check out, you'll get a bundle. Just use the coupon code down below and you'll get a little bundle that pops up after you check out. Now, let me show you how Jerome Powell might actually indeed be getting under Donald Trump's skin. Take a look at this right here. This is a tweet from Donald Trump this morning. The Federal Reserve is wrong so often. I see the numbers also and do much better than they do. We will have a very good third quarter, a great fourth quarter, and one of the best years ever in 2021. We will also soon have a vaccine and therapeutics/cure. That's my opinion. Watch. So this is, again, a sign that Donald Trump and the White House are frustrated in response to the stock market falling today. And this is Donald Trump's way of saying, hey, Jerome Powell, dude, why did you come out and make everything so gloomy? Now stocks are down and people are pissed. In fact, when Larry Kudlow was interviewed this morning, guess how he started the interview off? He started off by saying, I wish I could be here on a better day. The stock market's down. Really? Larry Kudlow, now you're defining your day based on the stock market being red? It's actually the opposite of what I do. Last week, I came to you and said, hey, the stock market is so up, I can't buy anything anymore. I'm just going to pay off debt now. Now, the market's really red, and I'm on a shopping spree, which we'll talk more about that in a moment. But let's talk about tenants and Steve Mnuchin. So some of you may have already heard that Steve Mnuchin suggested that they're seriously considering another stimulus package, which another financial YouTuber made a whole video about that. Okay, big deal. We already knew this. Not a big deal, other than the fact that it is a little bit of a change, because Steve Mnuchin has always been that wait-and-see kind of guy. He's the head of the Treasury Department. All right, let's put that to rest. We don't need to talk more about that, because we had better information to talk about. But now, let's focus on the fact that if you're a tenant, I want to ask you something. What kind of benefit did you get from the CARES Act as a tenant specifically? No evictions, right? But what happens when no evictions are done? If you didn't pay rent, you're going to have to pay that rent back, right? But do you get to pay that back in 30 years? Or are you potentially facing eviction if you don't catch up and basically fall victim to whatever installment plan your landlord sets up for you? The reality is you owe the money and there's no government coming in, swooping in saying, don't worry, just pay it in 30 years. Think about that for a moment. This reiterates how our country works. If you're a tenant, you get virtually nothing. You get screwed again. If you're a homeowner, you get to postpone money you owe for up to 30 years. If you're a homeowner, you get bailed out. Tenants, you're just a byproduct of home ownership and business in America. Again, the same thing is true if you're a business owner versus an employee. If you own the business, you get forgivable money. If you're an employee, you get nothing. You get screwed in cases like this. I guess I shouldn't say you get nothing, you get the privilege of maybe going back to your job. Now look, I hate to sound like so much of a cynic, but I think it comes from the frustration of seeing how this country screws people who who are poor. It's not fair. That's why I make these videos, and that's why I try to incorporate as much financial wisdom about negotiating and psychology and what you might consider doing with your money. Obviously, hashtag for entertainment purposes only, not a financial advisor here. You should always consult your own financial advisor. But you can't save your way to success in America. The system is not in your favor. If you're a tenant or you're poor, America tends to keep you poor. And so this is why even if you think stocks are a scam and the market is rigged, I urge you to consider subscribing to the channel and learn more about money and finance and investing, even if it's just in part in little bits through videos like this. You can also come to my live streams every morning and you can watch me talk much more in detail about the market live and ask me questions about my opinions on some of the thoughts or decisions that you're making. And take it for what it's worth. I'm a dude on the internet willing to give you my opinion, but if you're interested in it because you like what I have to say, it's an option for you. It's in the link down below. I go live every day at 9 a.m. when the market is open. Now, if you're an owner of real estate, rates just fell again, and I encourage you to consider refinancing sooner rather than later. I wouldn't necessarily try to time rates falling even more. I would get in the pipeline and get it done. But now let's talk about the EIDL. The EIDL, the Emergency Injury Disaster Loan. Applications for the Emergency Injury Disaster Grant are probably reopening again next week. Stay tuned, this isn't guaranteed yet, but if those applications open up again, remember that this is your opportunity to get the free $1,000 stimulus check as a bonus if you have a business or a side hustle. Now, some folks have said, Kevin, it's not a stimulus check. But the reality is, if you get $1,000 per employee that you have, which you are your own employee if you have a side hustle, that is a stimulus check. And only people who have a side hustle or business qualify, just like only people under a certain income qualified for the $1,200 stimulus check. So in my opinion, you want to watch for this next possible opening of the Injury Disaster Grant Program again next week. It'd be a free $1,000 if you have a side hustle or business. And it's pretty much a no questions asked self-attestation. I personally, again, refer to this as the $1,000 stimulus check, so stay tuned. You can subscribe to the channel, and if you see updates regarding this in the title, know that that's what I'm referring to. Now, let's talk about stocks. Look, today is a huge red day in the stock market, which a lot of people will send me messages and they'll say, oh, congratulations, Kevin, Tesla is up. Oh, but unfortunately, your Dave & Buster's stock is down. You're a loser because you invested in a company that lost money when the whole market went down. Well, those people usually don't remember that I invest in companies like Dave & Buster's with a 3 to 4 year horizon. But in the meantime, I actually love days like this. When I see red, it screams to me, Kevin, you're 28 years old, go shopping, because you just got a fat coupon in the mail that allows you to buy Carnival, AMC, Dave & Buster's, the Simon Property Group, the airlines, Uber, Cheesecake Factory, Wynn Hotels, Starbucks, all between 8 and 15% off. Heck, you want something more safe? Here's JP Morgan Chase and Disney for you. And if you like to see what some of my favorite stocks, geez, even Redfin's down almost 6% today. If you want to see what some of my favorite stocks are, remember to go to metkevin.com/stocks610. That's stocks and then the number 610, metkevin.com/stocks610, and you can see what some of my favorite stocks are and allocations, so you can kind of see what I would do if I were going to buy stocks today. I did buy stocks this morning. I talk about that in my Discord channel all the time as well. But for now, consider buying some stocks because, golly, the market has some big sales going on. And I really encourage you join the wealth group of people investing in the stock market. Well, so folks, there you have it. As usual, if you appreciate these kind of updates, I consider subscribing to the channel.